will help you. If your last name is on this list, your ancestor didn't just live in Normandy, they crossed the English Channel on the morning of September 28, 1066, stepped onto an English beach they had never seen. Will help you. And within 19 days fought and won the battle that ended one civilization and began another. These 10 surnames appear in the Domesday Book of 1086, the most detailed survey of a conquered country ever compiled in the medieval world. Will help you. Recording the names of the Norman landholders who had replaced the English aristocracy almost entirely in the 20 years since Hastings, they appear in the Battle Abbey roll. Will help you. The medieval list of the Norman families who fought at Hastings, whose names were recorded as the founding genealogical document of the Norman ruling class in England, they appear in the Pipe Rolls. Will help you. The Exchequer records the feudal surveys and the chronicle traditions of the Anglo-Norman world that preserved, in extraordinary detail, the names of the families who arrived in England in 1066 and never left. Will help you. Most of the families who carry these names today, in England, in America, in Australia, in the English-speaking diaspora across the world, have no idea that their surname is not English at all. Will help you that it came across the Channel from Normandy in the autumn of 1066, that it was, at its origin, a French name spoken by warriors who had no English and no interest in learning it. Will help you. Because the country they were conquering was going to learn their language instead. And it did, the English language that exists today with its extraordinary double vocabulary of Germanic and Latinate words. Will help you. Its Norman legal terminology, its French aristocratic register layered over its Anglo-Saxon common register, is the living consequence of what happened on the 14th of October 1066 on a hill in Sussex. Will help you. When the Norman cavalry broke the English shield wall and the world that had been became the world that is, stay until number 1, because that surname belongs to the dynasty itself. Will help you, to the bloodline of William the Conqueror, whose Y chromosome lineage, confirmed by genetic research published in 2023, survives in living men today, and whose conquest reshaped the English language. Will help you the English law, the English aristocracy, and the English identity so completely that it is impossible to say where Norman England ends and English England begins. Number 10, Warenne de Warenne. Will help you. The next surname sounds as English as a village green or a parish church in the home counties. The kind of name that no one questions as English, that blends into the English landscape as though it had always been there. Will help you, which by a certain definition it has for 958 years. But pull it back to its origin and you find yourself not in England at all, but in the valley of the Warenne River in Normandy. Will help you in the territory held by a Norman family, whose English descendants became one of the most powerful aristocratic dynasties in medieval England. From the Norman French de Warenne. Will help you, meaning of the Warenne, from the Warenne River in the Seine Maritime department of Normandy. A topographic name from the Norman landscape that became, after 1066, one of the grandest titles in the English nobility. Will help you. William de Warenne crossed to England with the Conqueror and fought at Hastings. His reward was vast. He received land across 13 counties of England, with his principal holdings in Surrey. Will help you. Yorkshire and Norfolk. He built Castleacre in Norfolk, one of the most impressive Norman castle complexes in England, and Lewes Priory in Sussex, the first Cluniac monastery in England. Will help you, which he founded in thanksgiving for his survival of the battle. He was created Earl of Surrey by William Rufus in approximately 1088, one of the first English earldoms created by the Norman dynasty. Will help you. The de Warenne family held the earldom of Surrey for 6 generations, from the conquest to 1347. When the male line died out, they endowed monasteries. Will help you. They participated in every major political crisis of the Norman and Plantagenet period: the civil war between Stephen and Matilda, the rebellion against King John, the baronial conflicts of Henry Fee's reign. Will help you at the Parliament of 1297, when Edward I demanded that the earls perform military service in Gascony. Will help you. The Earl of Surrey reportedly produced an old and rusty sword and declared that with this his ancestors had won their lands, and with this he would defend them against anyone who tried to take them. It will help you. Whether the story is historical or legendary, it contains the essential truth of the Norman aristocratic tradition in England. Their legitimacy came from the sword, from Hastings. It will help you. From the moment their ancestor had crossed the Channel and fought on a hill in Sussex and survived. If your name is Warenne or de Warenne, your bloodline crossed the Channel in 1066 and received 13 counties as its reward. It will help you. The river in Normandy became an earldom in England, and the earldom lasted 281 years. Number 9, Montgomery de Montgomery. Number 9 carries the name of one of the most powerful Norman families in England and Wales. It will help you. Whose patriarch fought at Hastings received the earldom of Shrewsbury. It will help you. And whose descendants built the castle network that controlled the Welsh marches, the contested borderland between England and the Wales that the Normans never fully conquered for 2 centuries. It will help you. From the Norman French de Montgomery, from the town of Saint Foy de Montgomery in the Calvados department of Normandy, a topographic name from the Norman landscape from Mont. It will help you. Mountain or hill and Gomery, possibly a personal name or a topographic feature. The Hill of Gomery, a name from the Norman bocage that became one of the most resonant place names in the history of the British Isles. It will help you. Roger de Montgomery was one of William the Conqueror's closest associates, a member of the inner circle of the Norman aristocracy, who had been part of the planning and preparation for the English campaign. It will help you. He stayed in Normandy during the invasion itself, managing the Norman duchy while William was in England, and crossed to England subsequently to claim the rewards his loyalty had earned. It will help you. He received the earldom of Shrewsbury and became the dominant Norman power in the Welsh marches. His son Robert de Bellême, who inherited the Montgomery lands. It will help you. Was one of the most feared military commanders of the early 12th century, a siege engineer of extraordinary skill. A military architect who built castles of a sophistication that represented the cutting edge of Norman military technology. It will help you. And a man whose personal cruelty was so extreme that even by the standards of the Norman aristocracy it was remarked upon, he was eventually imprisoned by Henry White. It will help you. The name Montgomery spread across Wales and the marches through the castle-building program of the family, whose fortifications at Montgomery, Shrewsbury, Oswestry. It will help you. And dozens of other sites across the borderland created the physical infrastructure of Norman domination of Western England and the Welsh marches that persisted through the medieval period. It will help you. Field Marshal Bernard Law Montgomery, 1st Viscount Montgomery of Alamein. It will help you. The British commander at El Alamein in 1942, whose victory over Rommel's Afrika Korps was the first significant British land victory of the Second World War, was of Montgomery family descent. It will help you. The Norman name that crossed the Channel in 1066 was still producing military commanders 9 centuries later. If your name is Montgomery, your bloodline crossed the Channel in 1066 and controlled the Welsh marches for 2 centuries. It will help you, and produced a field marshal who won the battle that turned the Second World War. Number 8, Percy de Percy. Number 8 carries the name of the family that became synonymous with the north of England. It will help you. The great northern magnates whose power in Northumberland, Yorkshire and the Scottish borders made them effectively independent rulers of the north for 3 centuries. It will help you. Whose rebellions against the English crown are recorded in Shakespeare's history plays, and whose family seat at Alnwick Castle in Northumberland is still inhabited by the Duke of Northumberland today. It will help you. From the Norman French de Percy, from the village of Percy and Oge in the Calvados department of Normandy, from the Latin Percy, possibly from a Gaulish personal name. It will help you. A place name from the Norman landscape that became the most powerful aristocratic name in the north of England. William de Percy came to England with the Conqueror and received extensive lands in Yorkshire and Lincolnshire. It will help you. His descendants consolidated these holdings and acquired additional territories across the north through strategic marriage and royal favour, becoming Earls of Northumberland in 1377, the title still held by the Percy family today. It will help you. making them one of the very few Norman families to have maintained an unbroken connection between their post-conquest landholdings and their present-day aristocratic position. Will help you. Henry Percy, known as Hotspur Sir Henry Percy, born 1364, a nickname given for the speed of his border raids against the Scots, is the most celebrated member of the family in the popular historical imagination. Will help you. He fought at the Battle of Otterburn in 1388, was captured by the Scots, and was subsequently the most prominent English commander of his generation. He led the Percy Rebellion against Henry IV in 1403. Will help you. Allied with Owen Glyndwr of Wales and Edmund Mortimer, and was killed at the Battle of Shrewsbury on July 21, 1403, at the age of 39, fighting against the king he had helped to place on the throne. Will help you. Shakespeare made him the most vivid character in Henry IV Part 1, the fiery, impatient, honor-obsessed soldier who could not submit to political compromise because his nature would not allow it. Will help you. The Norman name from the Calvados carried north to Northumberland produced 9 centuries later the theatrical embodiment of English aristocratic military honor. If your name is Percy, will help you. Your bloodline crossed the Channel in 1066 and became the north of England. The Calvados village that became an earldom, that became Hotspur, that became Shakespeare. Still at Alnwick, will help you. Still Percy, still holding the north, number 7 Beaumont de Beaumont. Number 7 is a name that carries the Latin beauty of the Norman-French cultural tradition into the English landscape. Will help you. A name that describes not a battle or a river or a valley, but a quality of the land itself, the beautiful mountain, the fine hill. Will help you. A name given by people who found the Norman landscape lovely and who named their settlements for the qualities they found there, and who then carried those names to a foreign country and applied them to the new landscape they were appropriating. It will help you. From the Norman French beau, meaning beautiful or fine, and mont, meaning mountain or hill, the beautiful mountain, the fine hill. It will help you. A name of Latinate elegance from the Norman French aristocratic tradition that entered England in 1066 and spread across the English landscape in the place names and family names of a ruling class that spoke French and saw no reason to do otherwise. Will help you. Robert de Beaumont, 1st Earl of Leicester, was one of the Norman commanders at the Battle of Hastings. He fought on the right wing of the Norman army and is specifically mentioned in the Carmen de Hastingae Proelio. Will help you. The Latin poem written shortly after the battle that provides one of the most detailed contemporary accounts of the fighting. He received Leicester and extensive lands across the English Midlands as his reward. Will help you. His grandson Robert de Beaumont, 3rd Earl of Leicester, was Justiciar of England under Henry Adu, effectively the chief administrator of the English kingdom during the king's frequent absences in his continental territories. Will help you. The Justiciar was the most powerful position in the English administrative system below the king. Will help you. And the fact that it was held by a man whose grandfather had crossed the Channel less than a century before illustrates the speed and completeness with which the Norman aristocracy had embedded itself in the English governmental structure. Will help you. The name Beaumont spread across England in the Norman period, both as a family name and as a place name, the village of Beaumont in Essex, the town of Beaumont in Cumbria. Will help you. Both record Norman settlement and Norman naming practice imposed on the English landscape by a ruling class that renamed what it owned. If your name is Beaumont, your bloodline found England beautiful enough to name after Normandy. Will help you. The beautiful mountain, carried across the Channel and planted in the English Midlands and administered the English kingdom within 3 generations of the conquest. Before we continue, will help you. If you're finding this useful, subscribe to Bloodline Decoded. Every week we uncover the history hidden inside names that people carry without knowing what they mean. Hit subscribe and the next video will already be waiting for you. Will help you. Number 6 Mallet Mallet. Number 6 carries a name from the inner circle of the Norman conquest. A name connected to the man who performed one of the most personally significant acts in the immediate aftermath of Hastings, who buried Harold. Will help you. The last Anglo-Saxon king of England on the battlefield or near it, in a private act that the Norman tradition recorded with a specificity that suggests it was considered important. It will help you. The Norman who gave the English king his grave from the French Mallet or Mallet, possibly a diminutive of a personal name, or possibly from Mali, meaning trunk or traveling bag, the man of the trunk. It will help you. The man of the traveling chest, suggesting perhaps an official or administrative role, or possibly from mail, meaning mail armor, the man of the mail, the armored one. The etymology is disputed among scholars. It will help you, which is itself a mark of Norman French surname complexity. William Mallet was one of the most trusted members of William the Conqueror's inner circle. It will help you, a man who had connections to both the Norman and English worlds. Before the conquest, he may have had English family connections through his mother. It will help you, which would have made him one of the few Norman commanders who had a personal understanding of the country he was helping to conquer. After the Battle of Hastings, according to the Norman chronicler William of Poitiers, it will help you, the Conqueror entrusted William Mallet with the burial of Harold, the defeated English king. The details of Harold's burial are one of the most debated questions in the history of the Norman conquest. It will help you. The Norman sources suggest he was buried on the cliff above the beach, where he had first seen the Norman fleet, a warrior's burial, on the shore he had defended. Later tradition suggests his body was taken to Waltham Abbey. It will help you, which he had founded and buried there. Genetic research has recently been proposed as a method of resolving the question definitively. It will help you. But the identification of Harold's burial site remains one of the great unsettled questions of medieval English history. William Mallet received extensive lands in Yorkshire after the conquest. It will help you, including the city of York itself, where he was responsible for the construction of the first two castles, the fortifications that became the foundation of Norman military control over the north of England. It will help you. He was killed or died during the Northern Rebellion of 1069, when the Northumbrians, supported by a Danish fleet, rose against Norman rule and briefly retook York. If your name is Mallet or Mallet, it will help you. Your bloodline buried the last Anglo-Saxon king of England and built the castles that ensured no Anglo-Saxon king would ever rise again, the man of the trunk or the armored one. It will help you. Either way, the man who was there at the end and the beginning simultaneously. Number 5, Clifford de Clifford. Number 5 carries a name from the castle building program that was the most immediate and most visible consequence of the Norman conquest. It will help you. The Normans built castles, not the elaborate stone fortifications of the later medieval period, but the immediate, brutal, practical motte and bailey, structures an earthen mound with a wooden tower. It will help you. Surrounded by a bailey enclosed by a ditch and palisade that could be constructed by a labor force in a matter of weeks, and that transformed the English landscape permanently. It will help you, imposing Norman military dominance on every community within sight of the new structure, from the Old English cliff, meaning cliff or steep slope, and ford, meaning a river crossing, the ford at the cliff, a name that is, unusually. It will help you, not from Norman French at all, but from Old English, a place name from Clifford in Herefordshire, that a Norman family adopted as their territorial name after receiving the land as their post-conquest reward. It will help you, a Norman family wearing an English name. The absorption going in both directions simultaneously. Richard de Clifford received the lordship of Clifford in Herefordshire in the years following the conquest. It will help you. Building Clifford Castle on the cliff above the river Wye as the centre of his territorial power in the Welsh marches. His descendants extended their holdings northward into Yorkshire. It will help you. Where the Clifford family became one of the major northern magnates, receiving the barony of Skipton through marriage. The most celebrated member of the family in the medieval period is Margaret de Clifford. It will help you. Known as Fair Rosamond, or more precisely, the legend of Fair Rosamond, whose historical core is a relationship with King Henry II that the medieval tradition elaborated into one of the great romantic stories of the Plantagenet period. It will help you. Whether the elaborate bower at Woodstock, where Henry supposedly concealed her from Queen Eleanor, is historical or legendary is uncertain. It will help you. That the Clifford family produced a woman beautiful enough and significant enough to generate 7 centuries of romantic tradition is not. Anne Clifford, Countess of Pembroke, will help you. Born in 1590 and dying in 1676, was one of the most formidable women of the 17th century, a legal fighter, a castle restorer, a diarist, will help you, and a patron of extraordinary energy who spent 40 years fighting for her inheritance through the courts and then, having won it, will help you. Spent the remaining decades of her long life restoring every castle and church on her northern estates to pristine condition because she believed, with total certainty, that they were hers and that what was hers should be maintained. Will help you. If your name is Clifford, your bloodline built castles on the River Wye in 1066 and produced a woman in 1590 who spent 40 years in court to keep them and then spent 40 more years restoring them because they were hers. Will help you. The ford at the cliff, still standing, still theirs. Number 4, FitzWilliam FitzRoy. Number 4 carries one of the most distinctive markers of Norman aristocratic naming tradition in English history. Will help you. The Fitz prefix, from the Norman French Fis, son, contracted in the Norman naming tradition to Fitz, son of FitzWilliam, son of William, FitzRoy, son of the king. Will help you. A naming convention that the Norman aristocracy imported from France and applied systematically to the English landscape, creating a class of surnames that announced their Norman origin in a single syllable. Will help you. From the Norman French fils de son of, contracted to Fitz, a naming element unique to the Norman French tradition that entered English nomenclature after 1066 and spread across the English aristocratic record as the primary method by which will help you. The Norman ruling class identified its members as the sons of specific fathers in the generation immediately following the conquest. The Fitz prefix appears across the Norman aristocratic record with extraordinary frequency. Will help you. Fitzwalter, Fitzpaine, Fitzhugh, Fitzalan, the family whose descendant became the first Duke of Norfolk. Each one announces a Norman father, a Norman connection, a claim to the legitimacy of the conquest settlement. Will help you. The most politically significant of the Fitz names in English history is FitzRoy, son of the king. In the English royal tradition, FitzRoy was the surname given to the illegitimate sons of the king. Will help you. Henry V's illegitimate son Henry FitzRoy, whom Henry V considered legitimizing as his heir before the birth of Edward V, carried the name Charles, whose numerous illegitimate sons received various Fitz surnames. Will help you. FitzCharles, FitzRoy, FitzShams, the Duke of Richmond and Gordon, descended from Henry FitzRoy, Duke of Richmond, the illegitimate son of Charles II, still bears the FitzRoy name today. Will help you. The Norman naming convention, son of, applied to royal illegitimacy, produced an aristocratic tradition that runs from 1066 to the present day. William FitzOsbern will help you. The Conqueror's closest friend and his co-regent of England during the early months of the conquest, will help you, was the first Norman to receive a major English earldom, the Earldom of Hereford, and was one of the principal architects of the castle building program that secured Norman control of England in the years immediately after Hastings. Will help you. His name is on the Domesday Book. His castle at Chepstow Castle, built in stone beginning in 67, the oldest surviving post-Roman stone fortification in Britain, is still standing. Will help you. If your name contains Fitz, your bloodline carries the Norman naming tradition in its most concentrated form, the son of. The Norman convention that announced paternity and conquest simultaneously. Will help you. Still announcing what it has always announced. Number 3, de Lacy will help you. Number 3 carries the name of a family whose power in the north of England and in Ireland made them one of the most geographically extensive of all the post-conquest Norman dynasties. Will help you. A family that held lands from Pontefract in Yorkshire to Meath in Ireland, that built castles on 2 islands, that participated in every major political crisis of the Norman and Plantagenet period. Will help you. And that in Ireland became so thoroughly embedded in the Hiberno-Norman world that their descendants became more Irish than Norman within 2 generations of their arrival. From the Norman French de Lacy, will help you. From the village of Lacy in the Calvados department of Normandy, from a topographic or personal name origin that scholars have not definitively resolved. Will help you. A place name from the Norman landscape that became one of the most powerful surnames in the medieval British Isles. Ilbert de Lacy received Pontefract and extensive lands in Yorkshire as his post-conquest reward. Will help you. His descendants built Pontefract Castle, the great fortress that dominated the West Riding of Yorkshire for 5 centuries, and that would achieve its most famous historical significance. Will help you. As the prison where Richard II died in 1400, and where the royalist garrison made one of the last stands of the Civil War in 1648-49, Hugh de Lacy was given the lordship of Meath in Ireland in 1172 by Henry II. Will help you. As part of the Norman settlement of Ireland that followed Strongbow's conquest, his establishment in Meath made him the most powerful Norman in Ireland. Will help you. And his power grew so great that Henry II became suspicious of his intentions and eventually had him assassinated in 1186. Will help you. His son Walter de Lacy inherited the lordship and continued the process of Norman settlement in Meath that within 2 generations had produced a Hiberno-Norman culture so thoroughly hybridized that the de Lacys were speaking Irish. Will help you. Marrying into Irish dynasties and participating in Irish political life as Irish lords rather than Norman colonial administrators. The Norman family from the Calvados that had arrived in England in 1066 and Ireland in 1172 had become. Will help you. Within a century, both an English baronial family and an Irish noble family, speaking 2 languages, holding 2 identities. Will help you. And serving 2 political systems simultaneously with the fluid adaptability that was the most striking quality of the Norman aristocracy at its best. If your name is de Lacy or Lacy, will help you. Your bloodline crossed the Channel in 1066 and the Irish Sea in 1172. The Calvados village that became Pontefract that became Meath. The Norman who became English who became Irish. Will help you in 3 generations. Still holding the castles. Number 2, Beauchamp, Beauchamp. Number 2 belongs to a name that is one of the purest expressions of the Norman French aristocratic naming tradition in the English record. Will help you. A name that is, in its English pronunciation, completely unrecognizable as what its spelling announces. Beauchamp, spelled as the Norman French it is. Will help you pronounced by the English as Beauchamp, as though the 9 centuries of English phonological history have done everything they could to domesticate the French name while preserving its spelling as a permanent reminder that the name is not English at all. Will help you has never been English and will never be English no matter how many centuries of English pronunciation are applied to it, from the Norman French beau, beautiful or fine, and champ, field or plain. The beautiful field, the fine plain. Will help you. A name of Norman French elegance that described the agricultural landscape of Normandy with the aesthetic sensibility of a ruling class that found its own countryside beautiful and named its holdings accordingly. Will help you. The Beauchamp family received Worcestershire as their principal English holding in the post-conquest distribution of English land. From Worcester, they extended their influence across the English Midlands. Will help you. Acquiring through marriage and purchase the earldom of Warwick, the title by which the most famous member of the family is known in English history. Richard de Beauchamp, 13th Earl of Warwick. Will help you. Born in 1382 and dying in 1439, was the most celebrated English military commander of the generation between Henry V and Henry V. He participated in the Council of Constance that ended the Great Schism of the Western Church. Will help you. He fought in the 100 Years' War in France. He presided over the trial of Joan of Arc in Rouen in 1431. Will help you. The English commander under whose authority the most famous trial in medieval history was conducted, and the most famous execution in medieval history was carried out his successor, Richard Neville. Will help you. 16th Earl of Warwick, known as Warwick the Kingmaker, was not a Beauchamp by blood, but held the Beauchamp title and lands through his wife. His political career deposing one king. Will help you. Restoring him, deposing him again, dying in battle in 1471 is the defining political drama of the Wars of the Roses. If your name is Beauchamp or Beauchamp, your bloodline presided over the trial of Joan of Arc. Will help you produced the Kingmaker, and preserved a French spelling that 9 centuries of English pronunciation have not managed to make English the beautiful field. In French, forever. Will help you. Number 1, FitzWilliam the Conqueror's line William. And now number 1, this name, in its various forms across the English aristocratic, administrative and common record, belongs to the bloodline of the man himself. Will help you to the descendants of William, Duke of Normandy, who became William I of England on Christmas Day 1066, crowned in Westminster Abbey while his own soldiers, hearing the cheering inside the church and misunderstanding it as a sign of English attack, will help you, set fire to the buildings outside, an accident that is perhaps the most perfectly Norman moment in the entire Norman conquest, the moment of supreme triumph accompanied by the burning of what you were trying to own. Will help you from the old Germanic Wilhelm, meaning will helmet or desire protection, the helmet of will, the protection of desire. Will help you, a name of the Germanic warrior aristocracy that the Normans had carried from their Norse origins through their French education and across the Channel to the country where it became. Will help you in the single generation after the conquest, the most common male name in England. William was not a common name in England before 1066. It was not an English name at all. It was a Norman name. Will help you. A French name, the name of dukes and military commanders in the French tradition. After 1066, it became the most popular male name in England within 2 generations. Will help you. Because the men who were naming their sons William after 1066 were naming them after the most powerful man in the country, in the straightforward human tradition of naming your children for those whose power you admire or whose favor you seek. Will help you. William the Conqueror was born around 1028 in Falaise in Normandy, the illegitimate son of Robert I, Duke of Normandy, and a tanner's daughter named Herleva. His illegitimacy was not a secret. He was known in his lifetime as William the Bastard. Will help you. And the Norman aristocracy that served him never fully forgot it. He became Duke of Normandy at the age of 7 or 8 on his father's death and spent his adolescence surviving assassination attempts. Will help you. Revolts and the determined opposition of Norman barons who did not intend to be ruled by a bastard. He survived, he consolidated. He married Matilda of Flanders, who bore him 4 sons and at least 6 daughters. Will help you. He claimed the English throne on the basis of a promise allegedly made by Edward the Confessor and an oath allegedly extracted from Harold Godwinson. He spent the first 8 months of 1066 building a fleet. Will help you. Assembling an army and waiting for a favorable wind, he crossed the Channel on September 27 to 28, 66. He won at Hastings on October 14, 66. Will help you. He was crowned on Christmas Day 1066 in a ceremony that his own soldiers disrupted by setting fire to the city. He ruled England for 21 years. He commissioned the Domesday Book. Will help you, the most detailed survey of a country ever attempted in the medieval world. He built the Tower of London. He built Windsor Castle. He created the English feudal system, distributing English land to Norman barons in exchange for military service. Will help you. He transformed the English church by replacing English bishops and abbots with Norman ones. He changed the English language by making French the language of the court, the law. Will help you. And the aristocracy, and English the language of the conquered people who would not stop speaking it. He died in 1087 at the siege of Mons in France, thrown against his horse's pommel when the horse stumbled on burning embers in the sacked town. Will help you. An injury from which he died of internal hemorrhage 6 weeks later. His body brought to Caen for burial at the Abbaye aux Hommes, swelled in the summer heat to the point where it could not be placed in the stone sarcophagus prepared for it. Will help you. And the assembled clergy and nobility of Normandy watched in the smell of mortality, while the body of the most powerful man in the Western world was forced into a tomb that was too small for him. Will help you. He had 4 sons. His eldest, Robert Curthose, received Normandy. His second, Richard, had died already. His third, William Rufus, received England. His fourth, Henry, received money and subsequently took everything. Will help you. Genetic research published in 2023 identified the Y chromosome lineage of the descendants of Richard de Dreux, a grandson of Louis V of France, and a great-great-great-grandson of William the Conqueror through his daughter Adela of Normandy, will help you. Establishing the haplogroup of the Conqueror's male line as G Feet Heno 789. Subsequent analysis identified living men carrying this haplogroup in concentrations consistent with descent from the Norman aristocracy in England, will help you. Normandy and the wider territories of the Norman diaspora, the Conqueror's Y chromosome is still in the world. In the descendants of the men he brought across the Channel, in the English landscape his castles shaped, will help you. In the English language his conquest created, in the English law his administration established, in the names his people carried: Warenne, Montgomery, Percy, Beaumont, Mallet, Clifford, will help you. De Lacy, Beauchamp, FitzWilliam that are still in use in England and across the English-speaking world. 958 years after the morning his fleet hit the English beach and his soldiers jumped ashore and the world changed, will help you. Not mythology, Domesday rolls, chronicle, court record, will help you. Carved in stone at Chepstow and Pontefract and Alnwick and the Tower of London and Windsor Castle and Westminster Abbey and every church and castle and manor house that the Normans built in the country they conquered and decided to keep, will help you. He was the bastard son of a duke. He became the King of England. He changed the language, he changed the law, he changed the names, and 9 centuries later the names are still here, will help you. 10 surnames, 10 families, 10 corridors leading back through the Channel crossing on the morning of September 28, 1066, through the 90 minutes of fighting at Hastings on October 14 that ended Anglo-Saxon England, will help you. Through the castle building program that planted Norman military dominance in the English landscape in wood and earthwork, and then in stone. Through the Domesday Book that recorded every name, will help you. Every acre, every ox, every pig in a conquered country with the administrative thoroughness of people who intended to stay, will help you. Through the French that became the language of English law and English courtly life and left its fingerprints on every sentence of English that has been spoken since your name is not just Norman, it is a conquest, it is a crossing, will help you. It is the living consequence of 19 days in the autumn of 1066, when a bastard duke brought an army to a beach in Sussex and changed the language of a nation permanently and irreversibly, and in ways that the nation is still discovering 9 centuries later, will help you. Drop your surname in the comments. Tell me if your family carried a Norman name across the centuries, will help you. Through the Plantagenet period and the Tudor period and the Stuart period and the long transformation of the Norman conquerors into the English aristocracy that forgot it had ever been anything else, will help you. Tell me if you knew your name was Norman before today. Because those stories are the continuation of everything on this list. If you made it to the end of this video, subscribe to Origins Decoded, will help you. Every week another name, another bloodline, another history that nobody told you was yours.